sorry.
Hey Alexandria, we are so happy to see you. We can't wait to tell you about Young Life. My name is Ryan Whitty, and this is my good friend Sarah Peterson.
Ryan, when is the last time you thought about being a teenager?
When is the last time you thought about being a teenager? It may have been a while ago, and a lot has changed, but so many things have remained the same.
Young Life's mission is to introduce adolescents to Jesus Christ and help them grow in their faith. Adults who care enter the world of a teenager and earn the right to be heard.
Today, we're going to take you around town and introduce you to some of our Young Life friends and tell you how you can join the adventure.
So fill up your hot chocolate, grab some popcorn, and we're going to go to the heart of it all, the high school.
We live in a culture where kids are desperate for meaning and value. They're on this incredible search.
Doesn't matter their skin color, doesn't matter their economic status.
They're filling their lives with all kinds of things, trying to belong.
Kids desperately need caring adults that will come alongside them, get right in the middle of wherever they are.
Who love them no matter what. Young Life is caring adults who love Jesus and love kids, and they enter into a kid's world.
Young Life is all about going to where kids are.
We're not waiting for a teenager to come to our building. We come to them.
The Young Life leader comes in, loves them where they are, accepts them right where they are without judgment.
I'm doing life with them, and they get to see how I respond with Jesus in every circumstance.
We've been doing this for a long time. We've been around since 1941. We've got ministries in all 50 states, over 95 countries, and we're not going to stop there.
What I love about Young Life is our true commitment to every kid. Middle school kids, high school kids, college students, kids with special needs, teen moms, teens of military families.
When they develop that relationship with that Young Life leader and realize that that relationship's not going away, it's life-changing for them.
We do a lot of things to invite kids in. We have clubs.
Young Life Club is the 1 hour a week that we gather a lot of kids.
You're gonna have fun, you're gonna be energized, and you're gonna learn that Christ is not boring.
It's a place where your kid can hear more about God, hear more about Jesus, and decide for themselves how they feel about that in a fun environment and in an accepting environment where people are going to love them and it's safe.
In the summer, we have an opportunity to take kids to camp, and Young Life Camp is the best week of their lives.
Many of the kids who go to Young Life Camp make lifelong decisions to follow Jesus. And the great thing about Young Life is when we send kids to Young Life Camp, they go with their Young Life leader. And that same Young Life leader who's been with them all year comes home with them.
When I come back from camp and my phone I'm getting text messages from parents saying, I don't know what y'all did with my children at camp, but they are different. You know, when I get that kind of stuff, then that's cool.
We take very seriously the task of teaching them how to follow Christ, teaching them how to pray, teaching them how to read the Bible.
We plug them into a small group of their peers, and we call it campaigners, helping them discover what it means to follow Jesus and encouraging them to plug into a local church.
The vision of Young Life is that every kid will have the opportunity to hear about Jesus.
Every kid deserves to know who God is, deserves to know that somebody loves them.
How can you join this adventure? Because we are moving and we want you to come along.
Our staff are amazing. We need more of them. Our volunteers are amazing. We need more of them. We have donors who give sacrificially, and we need more of them.
If you love the Lord and have a heart for teenagers, I can teach you the rest.
This is an investment that is going to change kids' lives for generations. This is going to change communities for generations.
We know that if we show up and be available, that God uses that process and kids' lives change.
What a great video. That's what Young Life is. Adults who love Jesus, have a heart for kids, and show up, go where kids are.
Just at this high school alone, there are 1,200 teens. At Discovery Middle School, there's another 1,000. And within a 20-mile radius of Alexandria, there's another 1,200 teens. Thousands of kids, thousands of personalities, with so many different struggles and so many different needs. But they all have one thing in common, the need to feel loved and valued. And that's where Young Life can step into the adventure of a teen's life and make a true difference.
Although Young Life is relatively new to the Alec area, it has a long history of telling kids about the good news of Jesus. When I first moved here 6 years ago, one of the first people I met was Edgar Timberlake. We had an instant connection based on our history with and love for Young Life. I recently asked him to send me a video telling us about the impact that Young Life had on him. Why don't you watch it while we head over to our next stop where we're going to talk to some Young Life leaders.
Hey Ryan, Young Life has been reaching teenagers for Christ since 1941. I first learned of Young Life in high school in Charlotte, North Carolina in 1963. A friend invited me to join him at club. My first club was fun, just being around friends, laughing at the skits and the jokes. I even enjoyed the talk about Jesus at the end. Eventually, I began to join some other guys at Campaigners, a weekly Bible study that met at 6 a.m. at the local pancake house. I still can't believe I did that because I'm definitely not a morning person. I also attended Frontier Ranch, a camp in the mountains of Colorado. That week was an amazing experience of adventure, fun with friends, and nightly club, culminating with the crosstalk. Although I was a church kid, I never really got it. It was through Young Life that I first understood the gospel.
Welcome back. So like Edgar said, Young Life has been reaching kids for a really long time. So how do we do that?
Adults enter the world of teenagers and earn the right to be heard. Young Life calls them leaders. And we are here with two of our very own, Casey Lang and Jordan Scherber.
So Jordan, why did you decide to become a Young Life leader?
It started when I think back to who I was when I was a high schooler. I remember what it was like to be a teenager and really not knowing who I was, really unsure of my just whole identity as a person. And I think I've always wanted to give back to kids who are going through that same struggle, trying to figure out who they are. And so when that opportunity presented itself to become a Young Life leader, it really felt like it was God's way of just kind of telling me like, hey, this is your opportunity and you should take it. So I've been doing that ever since.
Casey, some people may be wondering, what do Young Life leaders do? What do Young Life leaders do?
It's pretty simple. We show up where kids are. We enter into their world. Sometimes that looks like coaching. Sometimes it's going to sporting events, going to band or choir concerts, or just hanging out. We show up and we continue to build relationships with them and earn the right to be heard.
So Jordan, you're a teacher out at the high school. In your experience, what kind of kid would need a Young Life leader?
Any kid. You know, there's 1,200 kids in the building. I don't think there's a single one that just doesn't fit the mold of a Young Life student. It could be a kid who looks to have it all together to someone that maybe considers himself a complete mess. The kid who's very popular, has a lot of friends, to someone who thinks of themselves as a loner. I think they all could use Young Life. They could use a Young Life leader in their life. And so I think that's part of the reason why I just really believe in this cause.
Casey, who can be a Young Life leader?
Anyone, any age, any interests. We need people of a wide variety. Like Jordan said, there are 1,200 students in our high school alone. That's a lot of different personalities. So it's important that we have a lot of different personalities on our leadership team as well. We need to have people who can relate to all sorts of kids. So if you love God and you have a heart for kids, we can teach you the rest.
Well, Jordan and Casey, our community is so lucky to have you two out in the world of teenagers, serving them and introducing them to Jesus. So thank you for everything that you do.
So while we say our goodbyes to Jordan and Casey, you watch this quick video about leaders that show up one day at a time. And we'll see you at our next stop in just a bit. Sound good? See you then.
We build relationships, and that's a good thing. But we also hope that it will lead to something big. This is the heartbeat of Young Life, and it always has been. The something doesn't have to be sensational. It doesn't have to be spectacle. It doesn't have to be club, campaigners, or even Young Life camp. The walls are already down, the teenager is already won, and the stage is already set for something. It's this: to introduce teenagers to Jesus Christ and help them grow in their faith. It looks like this. It's not just because they care, but it's because they've been transformed by God's love and feel compelled to share that in the best way they know how. What's a Young Life leader? They're people, just like you and I. But what does a Young Life leader do? They care. And it looks a lot like showing up, one day at a time.
I love the way that video says it. A Young Life leader is someone who cares, and they show up one day at a time.
Before we get to our next stop, we wanted to take a moment and talk about this place, this town that has so much to offer, and people like you that care. It's important to emphasize that Young Life will only happen if like-minded adults get together and make it happen.
And not just as individuals, churches and organizations too. Young Life comes alongside local churches of all traditions and denominations to help prepare teens for a lifelong relationship with Christ and a love for His Word.
So how can you be a part of the adventure? Well, we've already talked about being a leader, but that's not the only way.
The first way is to join our committee. The committee is a group of local adults who get together on a regular basis to do all the behind-the-scenes work we all know is necessary to make an organization successful.
Another way is by being a volunteer. Whether you're writing a thank you card, bringing cookies to club, or being a part of the prayer team, I promise if you want to help, we have a place for you.
The last way to say yes to joining the adventure is to become a financial supporter. Young Life is a nonprofit ministry that's supported by the community it serves. So whether it's one-time, regular monthly, big or small, your financial support helps us continue the life-changing work we're doing in the lives of teens.
When we get to our next stop, we'll let you know how you can share with us how you want to be a part of Young Life and support us here in Alexandria. But first, we have a really big introduction to make.
Over the last 2 years, because so many of you have said yes by giving us your time and financial support, we have been able to hire our very first area director, and we are so excited to introduce you.
So while we make it to our next stop, you take a moment and watch this quick introduction video, and we'll see you in just a bit.
Hi, I'm Daniel Hartsock, and I'm the new area director of Alexandria Area Young Life. Let me tell you a little bit about my adventure that brought me here. My adventure started out in a small town in Ray, North Dakota, where I grew up in a farm with my 3 siblings, my parents, and my grandparents right next door. After graduating from high school, I made the big move to the big city of Minneapolis, where I attended the University of Northwestern and graduated with a music degree. It was during my college years where my faith really took root, where I really sensed a call to ministry. After graduating from college, I moved out to Snohomish, Washington, where I got involved with Young Life, not knowing really what I was getting into. Immediately, Young Life stood out to me in the way that they share who Jesus is with adolescents and really base it off of building a relationship with students and kids as they share Jesus through that relationship. After 3 months of volunteering, I came on staff, which turned into 10 years of being an area director in the Snohomish Valley area, Young Life. Over my years of being on staff in the Seattle area, I got to do ministry with middle school kids and high school kids, and I saw our team grow from 5 to 60 leaders over the course of 10 years, and the first year of camp bringing 18 kids to over 400 kids my last summer of camp out there. During that last summer of camp, some Alexandria area kids got to come out and go to Young Life Camp in Oregon, which was super special because that's where my first Young Life experience started. That same summer, those Alexandria boys came out to go to camp with our area. Was also my last year out there where I felt called to come back to the Midwest. I applied for a position with Young Life College and got it and moved back 4.5 years ago. And little did I know, I wasn't just coming back for a job, but I would eventually meet my wife. Amanda and I have been doing ministry for the last 4.5 years, and we have loved being in the lives of college-age students. We love that Young Life College fulfills the mission to reach adolescents of all ages, middle school, high school, and college. Over the 4.5 years of doing Young Life College, one summer, another group of Alexandria boys got to go with me up to Malibu, which is a Young Life camp in British Columbia. Since coming back from Malibu with those boys, it's been fun to see all of the great people come together to pray and develop a committee to get to a place to hire someone. Amanda and I could not be more excited to come into the community of Alexandria and join in the kingdom work that God is already doing as we enter into the world of teens in Alexandria.
Well, everyone, we've made it to common ground with our brand new area director, Daniel Hartsock, and committee member and volunteer, Nicole Klimek.
Daniel, on behalf of the Alexandria Area Young Life Committee, we are so excited to welcome you to the Alexandria area and to introduce you as our first ever area director.
Thank you. My wife Amanda and I are super excited about joining this community here in Alexandria. We're excited about what God's already doing here in the lives of kids, and we're excited to join this Young Life committee and the leaders that have been doing this hard work for a number of years already.
Daniel, can you please explain to everyone, what does an area director do?
The area director's role is really to come alongside the volunteer leaders and the volunteer committee. The backbone of Young Life is really volunteers. The other part of an area director role is to really come alongside what God is already doing in other ministries and churches, to partner with them to figure out how can we reach more kids with the gospel of Jesus.
We will be sharing ways that we will welcome Daniel and Amanda into our community in the coming weeks and months. Please be looking for information on how you can say hello.
Well, Alexandria, we've shared with you about what Young Life is and how you can say yes to joining the adventure.
We cannot emphasize enough. Young Life only happens when people like you say yes.
Say yes to being a volunteer.
Say yes to being on the committee.
Say yes to being a leader.
And say yes to supporting Young Life financially.
The easiest way to do that is right on this webpage where you're watching us right now.
Right on this page where you are watching us right now, scroll down and enter your name, address, email, and phone number so that we can stay connected with you. Then it's supporting us here in Alexandria. We are inviting you to join this adventure to sustain and grow what's been started. Our area has a $140,000 annual budget that covers all operational costs, Young Life regional and national services, and staff compensation and benefits. Being a fully funded ministry is crucial in allowing us to continue the adventure that's been started. There are different ways and levels of giving that needed financial support. First is monthly donors. In order to build a consistent and sustainable financial base, we have a goal of adding 50 new monthly household financial supporters. If this interests you, click here. Then you can enter the amount that you'd like to give on a monthly basis, whether it's $25 a month or $500 a month. If you would rather give a one-time gift, click there, and then again you can enter the amount you'd like to give on a one-time basis, whether it's $50 or a $5,000 one-time gift. If you are currently a monthly donor but would like to increase your monthly giving, you can click there and then choose $25 more a month or any amount that you'd like to give. If you are a current donor and would like to continue your monthly gift, there's your choice. Or if you'd like to say not right now, you can click there. Next, tell us what you'd like more information on. Committee. We need caring adults supporting the growth of Young Life in our area. Volunteer leaders. Adults who care, who show up for kids. Without leaders, we don't have Young Life. Visit Young Life Camp. Young Life is the expert when it comes to camp. We are planning to take adult guests to Castaway in Detroit Lakes this summer. Plan to join us. Leader support. Like I said, without leaders, we wouldn't have Young Life. Help encourage our leaders and walk in this adventure with them. Prayer support. You're invited to join a committed group of people that pray for Alexandria area Young Life. Last is Coffee with Staff. Daniel starts February 1st, and we are excited for him to meet you and you to meet him. Once you enter your information, click Submit, and that will take you to a confirmation page. This will also go to your email so you have record of what you've submitted. One thing I would like to point out is if you've decided to give a new one-time or new monthly gift, we do ask that you click right here, and that will take you to our area's financial giving page. And on this page is where you actually enter the amount that you'd like to give, whether it's a one-time or monthly gift, and then it will walk you through the process of making that donation.
Alexandria, thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to continuing this adventure with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Young Life. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Young Life.